Welcome to A Drink of Wisdom. Nathan Driggard, I'm Jay Wise. Thanks for spending some of your time with us. As you know, we're on Anchor, we're on Apple Podcasts, we're on Spotify. And if you're looking for us in the video format, you can find us at the A Drink of Wisdom YouTube channel. And we're mobile as well. We're in cars. Well, at least one of us are. But we gotta do what we gotta do. Drink. Again, it's 2022. Been a little bit crazy to start, but it's great to be back with you.
Hey man, crazy ain't the word, man. I mean, listen, you look, they got you back in the car, back doing the original what we was back doing in 2018. I done had to
Mhm.
do. Hey, listen, thank God for cars, right? Because that's our go-to when things ain't going right for us, right? And it keeps us being able to keep this show going for the folks that tunes in. But yeah, to your point, 2022, we getting slapped with some more snow over here on the East Coast. Um, as we speak. So yeah, man, there's some craziness going on, man. But with all that said, man, glad to see your face. Glad to be back in the lab today. Glad to kick the show. How everything going on with you and yours?
That's good, man. It's good. Just trying to chug along. You?
Chug along, yeah. I'm just trying to stay warm at this point. Um, and try not to rub shoulders with anybody and get the Omicron, I should say, variant of COVID again, because folks, this is really contagious. I think I touched a bush the other day, and next thing you know, I was positive. Who knows? But with that said, another day, another dollar. We here to get the streets what they need. Hey, we see what they don't and absolutely say what they want. Set your dinner plates because it's time to eat, and we run a little later than usual. But hey, we in here, baby. But last but not least, let's talk some sports, baby. Jay, what you got for us today, man?
All right. This is episode 35, season 3. We will preview the NFC Championship game. We will get in on some of the NFL head coaching news, and we will take a look at the NBA All-Star Game stars, which were revealed last night. But we will start with the AFC Championship game preview, which will have the Cincinnati Bengals and the Kansas City Chiefs taking the field at 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday on CBS. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo have the call. This is a rematch of, I think it was week 17 when the Bengals upset the Chiefs. Jamar Chase had, over 250 receiving yards. It was absolutely ridiculous. And that was the only game the Chiefs have lost since their 3-4 start. The Chiefs, of course, coming off that wild, ridiculous, best game ever, 42-36 overtime victory over the Bills. The Bengals, coming off that victory against the Raiders in the wild card round, did upset the Tennessee Titans. Drink, I think the Chiefs will rebound in this game from that regular season upset. How do you see it playing out?
Yeah, yeah, I think I got to agree with you on that one, Jay. I listen. Cincinnati has been quite the story up to this point, but here's the deal. And I think this kind of falls into what you thought about the Tennessee Titans for majority of the year, and then what it came up to be fruition last week. They was frauds, and that's what we seen. I'm sorry, that's what we seen. It's no way you can tell me you watched that game last week and you sack a quarterback 9 times and they still win. The man got sacked. Not they frauds. That's all. That's the only way I can put it. They frauds. It's no way you got your best player back after missing them for what half of the season. You got a first round bye. You at home. What else do you want the NFL to do? What else do you want as a team? If you go to Mike Vrabel before the game and you ask him, "Hey Mike, you get Derrick Henry back, rested. You got the only bye for the AFC, so you get a team to come in that had to play last week. Oh, by the way, Mike, you at home. You get a couple of injured guys. You get Julio back. You get a couple of other guys back. How do you feel about this game? Well, I feel darn good. We're fired up. We're ready to go. We had a good week of practice. You'll hear something along that line, and then you go out here and your defense actually play. Because I mean, 9 sacks. My God, like 9 sacks. That means Joe Burrow was a little confused if that when he looked at that stat line, he had to look at his jersey and see which 9 they was talking about, because that's what it was. He got sacked just as many times as the number he wear on the field. Either way, the more I think about this, the more I say, if the Chiefs sack Joe Burrow 9 times, that game is over. I have to believe that if Kansas City was able to get 9 sacks on Joe Burrow, and you give, all right, not all sacks end up, being on 3rd down, and I get that, or end up changing possessions. But I do feel like 9 sacks gotta mean Patrick Mahomes and that high-powered offense gets the ball more. And if you give Patrick Mahomes the ball more, yeah, folks, I think that's when the Cinderella shoe comes slipping off, and we go ahead and turn into a pumpkin. That's what's going to happen if you get sacked 9 times. And then, so I want to give you your credit. You called Tennessee frauds all year. They came out looking like frauds. I mean, listen, I seen a $3 bill out there somewhere. Somebody was pretty phony. But then I look at this and I say, well, okay, well, what about Cincinnati defense against Kansas City? Well, here's the deal. You can run the ball on Cincinnati. And the one thing I'm starting to notice about Kansas City, with Edwards-Helaire getting back in the mix, listen, I was the first one to say, Edwards-Helaire and Darrell Williams, it wasn't much of a difference. But last week kind of showed me a little something. Man, don't get me wrong, Darrell Williams I don't think he played much last week. But the way that Edwards-Helaire inserted himself into the game last week, I had to put that on notice a little bit. Like, yo, my man looking a little more electric out there. He look a little more like a playmaker. When he got the opportunity to do something, he did something. Now you telling me, and that's against a Buffalo Bills team that can stop the run. They know how to stop the run. That's a stout defense. Now you give me a Cincinnati Bengals team that you can actually run the ball on. The book is out there. It's out there, folks. The blueprint is out there. You can run the ball on Cincinnati. It's very hard for me to see you stopping Patrick Mahomes if you can't stop the run. If Patrick Mahomes got a running back there that can bite off 3 to 4 yards average, so meaning some runs he might get longer, some that might be short, some that might get stopped behind the line of scrimmage. Either way, if you can give me a running back there that's going to get him 3 to 4 yards average on the run, and he can put that running back out in the flat and use him to get easy first downs like I seen last week, I don't know. Cincinnati might be in trouble. Because then what do? You're going to bring more in the box. Then you gotta dedicate a guy to keep his eyes on Edwards-Helaire, keep his eyes on whoever else. And then what Patrick Mahomes going to do? He going to sidearm that baby right on to Travis Kelce, and we're going to take it to the crib. And then what's going to happen? Now you're going to start cheating up. And then you know what the cheater going to do, baby. So when you start cheating up and you start seeing the peace signs, you know what time it is. We out of here. So, and you notice I ain't even mentioned the guys that come and go. I ain't even mentioned the Pringles and the Hartmans and the Robinsons of the world. I'm just talking about the guys that usually show up that game in and game out. Because them other guys, yeah, they pretty hit or miss. Needle in the haystack out there. Like Pringle might show up. Hartman might show up. I mean, Hartman's longest play last week was a run play. I'm like, hey, do those hands work? Because I'm not seeing it. What we doing out here? Is there a reason why Patrick Mahomes not throwing to Hartman? I don't know. Maybe he don't trust him. I don't know. But I did notice that. So, with all of that said, I'm thinking to myself, well, what would be a path of success for the Bengals? Well, Joe Burrow, we know what he got in Jamar Chase. There ain't no ifs, ands, or buts about it. We know what he got in Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins. And my God, CJ Usama, boy, let me tell you, the resurrection of his career out here, man, he out here looking like a whole new dude. I had to go back and be like, is that his son? Because the CJ Usama I know, I don't know about all this production I see out here. Let me make sure that ain't his son or something. Somebody check that DNA. So, with all that said, I do think especially if Tyrann Mathieu play. Now, I think he is a big deal on the back end of that defense. I think he's a big deal. We seen last week when he didn't come back into the game, they struggled, and Buffalo was smart enough to attack that area. Now, I'm not saying Cincinnati is not smart enough because I think they are, but I think it's a concussion protocol, so it is possible he get cleared before the game and they have their leader back. But I think it is a big deal if he's not back there because I can see Cincinnati running some games to get their tight ends open, et cetera, and set them in the spot where Tyrann Mathieu will really play, or in the run game stopping Joe Mixon because that's what you got to with Joe Mixon and Samaje Perine back there. You got to be. I think I would say this. I know we got Chris Jones and the rest of the best up there, but I think that without Tyrann Mathieu back there, if that run game was to start, populating success, I think you need your leader back there. It's not just about his productivity. I think it's about the leadership is what I'm missing the most with Tyrann Mathieu on the back end. And I think Cincinnati is a smart enough team to be able to capitalize off of that. Not like the Bills did, but still get some success off of that because I don't know Joe Burrow. Well, yes, I do. Joe Burrow ain't making no run play, no plays in the run game like Josh Allen did. I mean, Josh Allen was sending fools to the locker room. Joe Burrow ain't doing that. I'm gonna tell you that right now. So with that said, listen, man. I got the Chiefs by 11 plus. I'm not gonna lie to you. I got them by 11 plus. I think that test that they got last week, many people would tell you last week was the Super Bowl for the Chiefs. I don't know. I mean, I think we still got to get to Los Angeles and see the two teams that's there. But if that is true, and we use the mantra of like how college football look at things, then that means this game this week shouldn't be that daunting of a task after halftime. So I got the Chiefs by 11. I'm looking at the Chiefs 35-24. Kansas City take care of business in Arrowhead.
A couple quick things right off the bat. Sources are telling me if that was the Super Bowl, it was probably the Super Bowl for the Buffalo Bills, and they are now 0-5 in Super Bowls. Also, I was trying so hard not to cut in early because I really thought you were going to go on a 10-minute diatribe on the Tennessee Titans. I was like, Drink, they're not playing this weekend. I'm in a car over here. Let's move it a little bit. But anyway.
I had to give some context, man. I
got you. And you also missed the huge recap that we did Tuesday. I don't know if you had a chance to listen, but Cody was absolutely fantastic filling in. And yes, speaking of, I have to be fair let me get a few words in on the Titans. I did have them as frauds throughout the season. I did pick them in the game against the Bengals, though, because I just thought, Cincinnati, you're not ready for this. Derrick Henry come in, he gonna run the ball. But, the biggest fraud of them all is Ryan Tannehill. Just have to make that plain. And he got ripped a new one on the show on Tuesday. Catch that. If you missed it, it is worth it. But for this game, look, folks, the Kansas City Chiefs have only lost one game since they started 3-4. It was against these Bengals. So we get all that. But you also have to remember that means nothing. This is the playoffs. It's a different ball game. Remember, the Buffalo Bills beat the Kansas City Chiefs in the regular season. So we had that going on. To me, I just think the Bengals, I think you look back at this season, and I got it. They just won 2 playoff games. But you beat the Chiefs that way. Jamar Chase has just a historic game in a outstanding rookie campaign. That was you're probably going to look back on this season, even with the playoff win, and say that was Cincinnati's best win because it was against the defending AFC champions, 2 seasons removed from being Super Bowl champions. It just feels like the way this season is gone and what Kansas City did last week, this is Kansas City's game to lose. Matter of fact, I thought the winner of that game last week, whether it was if Buffalo won that game, Buffalo's going to beat Cincinnati or whoever it is this week. It just felt like when you watching that game, these are the best 2 teams. These are the best 2 quarterbacks right now playing. I don't know if we've ever seen the quarterback position played better than what we saw in that game. I just think the things I think you're going to have to watch out for, We know what Jamar Chase did in the regular season matchup. So how does Kansas City adjust? Because if you just go press man one-on-one, I'm sorry, like Charvarius Ward, Mike Hughes, no. I mean, you're going to get cooked because they got cooked the entire game. So Steve Spagnuolo, who I like, year after year, the defense don't look like they can stop anything, and then all of a sudden, at some point, they just turn it on. They turned it on a little bit earlier this year. They've been pretty good for most of the second half of the year. So what do they do differently? Do they play a little bit more zone? They play a little bit more softer? Because if you do what you did in the regular season, it's going to be a long day for that defense. The other thing that I think is key, and this is more for Cincinnati, I think Joe Mixon's got to be a big part of this game plan because I don't think the Chiefs are quite as stout up front on the defensive line, but between Chris Jones, between Frank Clark, between Melvin Ingram, and everybody else up front that they're gonna throw out there, something tells me they're gonna be able to get to the quarterback through and as well. And I think they also gonna be able to. They'll probably bring more, exotic blitz packages than Tennessee did. So that's a big deal because Joe Burrow was he was horizontal just as often as he was vertical in that game last week. So that just can't continue. And that's, I swear, for Cincinnati, please get that line fixed. Y'all ain't learned nothing from last year. The dude tore up his knee last year because y'all couldn't block. Y'all made it through this year, but you gotta take care of that moving forward. That's why I think Joe Mixon's got to be a big part of the game plan. If the Chiefs are able to hold up against the run and keep Joe Mixon contained, I think it's going to be a long day for Joe Burrow. I think that the Chiefs secondary just has to be smarter. Spagnuolo's got to be smarter out there. You can't do what you did in Week 17. I think it's about what adjustments Steve Spagnuolo make, and then for the Chiefs on offense. I mean, I don't see any reason why they shouldn't be able to just move the ball at will. Cincinnati's defense, I think you do have to give them a lot of credit. Last week, they were able to contain Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry only 20 carries, 62 yards. That was impressive. The thing is now, even if you do stop the run against Kansas City, that don't mean anything because Patrick Mahomes is the one quarterback above all else who don't need a running game.
This ain't Tannehill, baby.
Sir, it's certainly not. The other key thing is, and you got to think, Cincinnati, the way they've been winning the past 2 weeks, is just kind of strange. You don't see it a lot. In these 2 playoff games, they have scored 11 times. 8 of them are field goals. You come out here with that same type of mess. Mahomes ain't out here. You ain't gonna see. You'll see Harrison but what's his name? Harrison Butner.
Buckner, yeah, the kicker.
Butner,
right?
what?
Kicker?
I don't know what. Yeah. I don't know why I'm blanking on his name. I want to say Buttlicker so bad, but that's not it. That's off The Office. We say that all the time, and it's so in my head now. But anyway, you're not going to see him out there very often. You'll see him every now and again. But Mahomes is going to be in the end zone a lot. So that's the other big thing. The Bengals, you need Joe Mixon. You got to keep Joe Burrow upright, and you got to score touchdowns. I think to expect them to pull off 2 almost perfect performances against the Chiefs in one season, I think it's too much to ask. And, I think Kansas City gets them up out of here. I think they win it by 17.